down the floor here for Bendigo.
Oh, what a pass, Tessa Levy.
Finds Whittle free for her first three of the game and nails it.
6 seconds to shoot. George is all by herself. Melbourne Boomers escape with a miraculous 2-point victory.
Round 13 reaches its crescendo here in Melbourne. The Melbourne Boomers host the Bendigo Spirit live at the Boombox. Welcome to the Melbourne Sports Centre in Parkville as the Boomers celebrate their 10-year championship anniversary. Liam Ellison here alongside former Bulleen Boomers coach Laurie Chiswick. Laurie, welcome, and should be a special afternoon.
Oh, there's lots of things to look forward to in this game, and one of them being the most prevalent is the fact that they are celebrating their one and only premiership from 2011, and exciting. There's lots of superstars at the game, some past players, some past coaches. I should actually be there, but I'm lucky enough to be able to be calling this game. We see Michelle Timms, Tom Marr, who was head coach at the time, Rachel Jerry, who was there, plays for the Flyers now, Robin Marr, Debbie Slimmons. Wow, it's just a who's who of basketball right now. Paul Deakin as well. And there's the lineup. There's Sharon Milner, all the players. A great turnout. Gayleen, Physio, fantastic to see them all. And what a great way to get together and celebrate. And hopefully they're going to be seeing a really good game.
Well, Laurie, very lucky to have you with us in the studio today to call this one. The Boomers, of course, celebrating 10 years since their 2011 championship, 11 years after the fact, with celebrations put on hold with the 2020 season held up in Queensland. So great to finally get this one underway. And the Boomers are in their traditional Bulleen jersey tonight, so that's great to see as well.
Well, it is, and it's a bit of fun, you know. It just takes you back to the day when they did win that championship, and we look at the players that are in that starting lineup for the Melbourne Boomers, and they're really settled, and we see the inclusion back in of Ezzy Magnabor, so that's super that she's back playing. But we do have one absence, and it's not in the players list. It's actually head coach Guy Malloy, who is at home this afternoon because of COVID protocols, and he'll be watching closely to make sure his Chargers put on a good performance.
Paul Flynn will step in tonight as head coach, and the Boomers, meanwhile, winners of 4 of their last 5. They bring a 3-game winning streak into this one, including a gutsy 2-point win over the Capitals last weekend.
Well, that's exactly right, Liam, and their only loss came to Perth by 5 points. But speaking of winning 4 out of 5, Bendigo Spirit are on the same roll as the Boomers. Their only loss was to Adelaide by 7 points in the last 5 games, so they're really on fire too. And as the Boomers, their starting lineup is really settled. Very consistent play from Maddie Garrick. Annalie Maley, well, we'll be talking about her all game, I'm sure, averaging 21 points per game is second, and top in rebounds, averaging 16. She's just certainly in MVP form.
She certainly is, and the Spirit close to full strength tonight. No Mary Goulding. Other than that, though, they are going from strength to strength at the moment. These two have split the season series so far, 1 game apiece, and Bendigo won the first matchup 63-58, held the Boomers to 32% shooting that night, and Annalie Maley had 18 and 13, Laurie. So they certainly can beat this Melbourne team.
Well, I think it's not only the fact that they won that game, but it's just the way they've been playing in the second half of the season. Things are clicking for them. They're playing strong, determined, gritty basketball. They never give up. And so it'll be a bit of a, I don't know, danger game for the Boomers. But having said that, the Boomers seem to be sort of peaking at the right time of the season. That was a really gutsy win, as you mentioned, last week against Canberra. And we have to remember that that win was without Ezzy Magnabor and also Izzy Wright, who are both playing today. So they'll feel confident. They need to feel confident. There's only a couple of rounds left, and they want to be playing their best basketball right now.
Melbourne, full-strength lineup back out there. Ezzy, of course, returning from a foot injury at the Opals camp, and Izzy Wright back from COVID protocol, so great to see. And Maddie Garrick, of course, first game back in front of the home fans. So spent 6 years with the Boomers, averaging 13 points per game this season. Big night, big afternoon rather for her as well.
Well, it is, and whoever matches up, if it's her and Magin, if it's, you know, they'll be very familiar with each other and what they do out there. So I hope Maddie has a good game. It's always a little bit of pressure to play in front of fans that you used to play in front of as the home team. So we'll see how she goes this afternoon.
Well, back on the very court that the Boomers won their championship 11 years ago. The current longest tenured team in the WNBL is the Boomers. So big afternoon for them, historic.
And Liam, actually, on that night, I was in the commentary seat as well, calling that championship game. So this is deja vu here.
There you go.
Except I'm in a studio now, not up. A little bit different.
Great crowd in attendance there. Biggest of the season, we're hearing, for the Boomers. Here at the Boombox, their new home in Parkville. McGregor and McKay to contest the tip. Don't those blue jerseys look great? Here we go. McGregor comes away with it, so George and the Boomers with first possession. Back over to Madgen is Lindsay Allen. She was great with 29 against the Capitals last weekend. Madgen, baseline. First bucket's good for the Boomers.
A lot of poise showed by Tess there with her drive baseline, not rushing, just seeing what the defense was giving her.
Allie Wilson. Here's Garrick. Another good season for Bendigo. McKay, long-range three, drops.
Well, you wouldn't have expected that to be the first shot of the game from Megan McKay, but she's played really well. In fact, in the she had her best game of the season a couple of games ago against Southside, where she had 22 points.
Having a great season as this starting centre. McGregor crashing the glass. Good to see Ezzy back out there for Melbourne.
It is. She's so crucial to their win, to their season. To great pass, another great finish by Megan McKay. But back to Ezzy, they need her on the court. They need her playing well.
As Garrick with the steal.
A little bit of nerves by the Boomers right now to start this game.
First bucket of the game for Maddie Garrick. Allen off the screen. Tries to reward McGregor and does.
That's something I think we're going to see a lot of all night is the two-man game, the pick and roll with Lindsay Allen and Ezzy McGregor. Really hard to defend.
Two of the very best players this league has to offer. McKay with the screen. Wilson, mid-range two, a little strong. Now Madgen. George wide open from the top. No good. Now Levy. Last touch by the Spirit. So Bendigo with an early lead here. Forcing the ball out of Allen's hands. Here's Madgen. Garrick right up in her grill. Maley doing her best to deter McGregor. Now Madgen throws it away. Good start from the Spirit. Levy pushing the issue. Puts the burners on. Pulls up for two.
How confident do Bendigo look right now? Everything they're doing with such purpose and endeavor.
Boomers back the other way. Mitchell. Contested two. Good defense from the Spirit. Levy man in the point guard position. She'll step into a three. No good that time. Mitchell showing her athleticism and the lay-in's good.
I like that. I liked Tiffany Mitchell pushing tempo, really getting the ball up the floor quickly and recognizing that she could take it herself.
So here's McKay. Maley, first shot of the game's off. It's been the area of her game that she's improved so well this season. Inside to George. Just out of her reach.
So they're looking to have an inside presence as we just see Tessa Levy here with her that pull-up jump shot. The Boomers seem to be looking inside as you would with the height advantage, but their passes just aren't accurate and they can't force it.
Levy hands off to McKay. Here's Garrick and Allen. Inside to McKay. The two bigs. Draws the foul. A lot of energy on that Bendigo bench right now.
Well, there is. This would be, you know, a big scalp if they could come away with the win. Smart though by McKay, just little pump fake, getting George out of her stance, came up high, jumped, and was able to then go into her and draw the foul.
Having another good season, Megan McKay, 11.5 points and 6.5 rebounds a game. Crucial cog for Bendigo this season. Second one's off. Oh, Levy's come up with it somehow. Dribbles the way out. So Bendigo, fresh 14. Now Levy goes, handoff to McKay. First one's blocked. And Melbourne see one off. Mitchell hesitates. Drawing contact. Wilson clutching at her knee. Good defense from McMagor there.
It was just with her length. She was just able to reach up, but nice drive at the other end by Tiffany Mitchell.
Been a revelation for this Melbourne team this season, Tiffany Mitchell.
She's just one of the many imports that we've gotten in the WNBL this year that have just been added so much to our competition and have been just a pleasure to watch and have been so crucial in the success of their teams that they're with.
16 points per game on the season. So Melbourne retake the lead. Parkville crowd is up and about here. Big afternoon for them. Inside to Garrick. She'll step into a long range two. Izzy Wright pulls it down for Melbourne. Allen, again trying to combine with McMagor. She backs it out. Oh. Somehow falls into the lap of McMagor, who misses. Now Maley the other way. Mishandles. Chaotic few moments. Levy. Wilson can fire. And George is fouled.
Bit messy for both teams right now. Neither team have really settled into it and feel comfortable. A lot of, you know, the idea is right, but the passes just aren't being executed. Well, if you consider that Melbourne have 3 turnovers, Bendigo 1, and Melbourne are the best team in the competition of taking care of the basketball. So they're going to want to make sure they don't have many turnovers.
Mitchell missing that time. McMagor cleans it up. It all started with Lindsay Allen, who's one of the key reasons why they do look after the ball so well. Skinner provides the screen for Levy. Skinner can fire. Maley's there with McMagor. Good contest.
That's twice now Kayla George has left her feet when she really needs to stay planted on the ground and just carry a big hand. Close out with a hand, make her put it to the floor. What a contest between Ezzy and Annalie Maley.
Should be fun to watch all afternoon, those two. Levy into Annalie Maley. Can't get it to go. So now Allen searching for a teammate, finds Madgen. No good that time. Long rebound. Falls out to Levy. That's a long two. Transition. And Bogues crashing the glass.
Bendigo had 3 people trailing after Levy, so that if she missed it, they had every opportunity to get that offensive rebound and put back, which they did.
Ernst into the ball game. Here's George. That one's no good, but it falls into the lap of Izzy Wright. Allen can reset for Melbourne. Skips it out to Madgen. The 3 ball just off. So it remains a 1-point ball game.
Tessa Levy putting up her hand, calling for some horns action, which is 2 posts coming up high.
Oh, tough finish from Levy.
Great job, Tessa Levy.
She looks locked in early into this contest. Madgen backs it out, finds Allen cutting to the hoop, hangs and misses. Maley. Here's Skinner, hands it back to Maley. Bogue again on the O-glass, missing. So here's Lindsay Allen. Inside to George, finds
great
Wright.
Pass. Great pass, great cut, great teamwork. I love off-the-ball movement, so as soon as George got that, Izzy Wright was going in. Now, if she hadn't got that pass, she would at least have been in there for an O board. Great movement.
Garrick gets one back for Bendigo.
Equally nice from Maddie Garrick, just a nice pull-up jump shot.
Here's Madgen. Inside and draws contact. So substitutions for both teams. Madgen at the line. First one goes. Perfect start from the charity stripe for the Boomers. It's been basket for basket so far. Out to Levy. Maley can fire. So here's Madgen the other way. Ernst thought about it. Wright, single digits now on the shot clock into McGregor. She's doubled down low and drawing the foul.
Oh, she got bailed out in that one. She had nowhere to go. It was great defense by Bendigo. There was a lot of talk. There was some switching going on. Annalie Maley just got a hand on the flight of that ball, so it was just a little bit off. And Ezzy just was in a bad spot when she caught it. So she's very lucky to find herself at the line right now.
First one misses for McGregor, who's having another good season. 15.5 points per game.
That's probably something that, this is probably something that she really needs to work on, is her foul shooting, because especially as a big, when you're finishing inside, your physicality, you're commanding a lot of attention and gets fouled a lot, you need to be able to shoot the ball at least 75%.
As Garrett misses on that one. So Melbourne leading by 1, less than a minute to go here in the first. Madgen, float is good. Skinner inbounds to Garrick. Here's McKay. Madgen defending Maley down low. Levy hands it over to Skinner. Mid-range 2, drops. referee and Annalie Maley chatting things over.
Well, I think it's the fact that Madgen's trying desperately to you know, block her out, and Annalie Maley's just always on the move. So, you know, there's bound to be a little bit of grappling here and there.
Mitchell sees her way through that one. One last opportunity for Melbourne here in the first. Madgen inside to Ernst, missing. Cleans up on the O-glass. So that'll do it for the end of one. The Melbourne Boomers 20 lead the Bendigo Spirit 17. It's been a fun game early. Stick around, second quarter coming up real soon. Welcome back to the Melbourne Sports Centre. Liam Ellison here alongside Laurie Chiswick. It's the Boomers by 3. Ezzy McNagor back into the starting lineup today. 6 points, 3 rebounds. And whether you want to be like Ezzy or just be your best, Spalding believe everyone should have the opportunity to play basketball. Grab yourself a ball and get started today at spalding.com.au. Spalding are the official ball partner of the WNBL. It's been almost bucket for bucket so far in this one, Laurie Chiswick. Hard to separate these two.
Well, it started off a bit messy for both teams, but they've both settled into it. And what I like about Ezzy starting and being on the court is that she's actually matched up on Annalie Maley, and that's been a good matchup, because so far Maley has no points. She's still got a couple of rebounds in there, but just the length of Ezzy and how she'd be able to defend Annalie is probably something that she hasn't seen a lot from the other teams.
Maley 0 of 4 so far this afternoon. Fresh off round 12 Player of the Week honours. Here's George to start us off in the second. Allen, baseline, gets around Levy. Pretty stuff from Lindsay Allen.
And that's what they need. They need a spread of scores, so they're not just relying on one person, and they certainly have that right now.
Demi Skinner steps it out. Maley with a fresh opportunity for Bendigo. Levy doubled. McKay tries to hand it inside. So fouled on the pass.
Just an explosive drive by Lindsay Allen, getting by Tessa Levy.
Melbourne opting to start the second quarter with their starting lineup. The Spirit have gone to their bench with a couple of players. Here's Garrick. Nice pass inside and fouled. So Jenny Rintala to the charity stripe. Good positioning from Rintala.
With two bigger players on the court in Rintala and McKay, it certainly frees up Maley to not have to defend one of George or Ezzy McNagor.
So gets it to go on the second. Here's Allen. Hand off to Madgen. So now Mitchell. Down low to McGregor. Another reverse lay-in. So timeout on the floor. The Boomers add to their lead now, 24-18.
And I think this would be a good time, given it's a timeout, and his team is now leading by a couple of points, to have a shout out to Guy Malloy. He has not missed a game in his 9 seasons of coaching with them. This is the first one, so I'm sure he will be not just sitting in front listening to us, Liam, but he'll be riding every play. So he'll be back on court this coming week, which is great to hear. And also I'd like to have a shout out to 14-year-old Julia Stahl, who is a huge Boomers fan and is recently recovering from an operation, so couldn't be at today's game. So all the best, Julia, and I know the Boomers can feel your support from afar.
Paul Flynn, of course, stepping in for Guy Malloy today. Great opportunity for him. Of course, Larissa Anderson as well on that bench as an assistant. But very busy during the week as GM of Dandenong Basketball. Paul Flynn with the team day in, day out.
Yes, I think between the two of them, they can certainly cover the absence of Guy Malloy. Great coaching minds, great basketball minds in Paul Flynn and Larissa Anderson.
Certainly. So Boomers by 6 here early in the second. Here's Maley. Still yet to score here. Levy, deep triple is good. Levy now up to 7 points.
Like you said, Liam, Levy looks really locked in what she's doing out there, both offensively and defensively.
Super athlete, Tessa Levy, balancing football with basketball. There's Allen a little off. 10 points, 5 assists per game this season for Levy. Here she is again. Backs it out to Rintala. McKay taps it to the advantage of Mitchell. Plenty of yellow jerseys ahead of her. Goes anyway. And Garrett cleans it up. Here's Rintala. Late entrant into this Bendigo team this season. Maley and Madgen got the advantage. Maley comes up with the first bucket.
That's a nice battle, Madgen and Maley.
Both teams mighty efficient early on in this ball game. Madgen loses her defender. Great battle indeed, Laurie.
Well, I think what you can do at one end, I can do at the other end.
Here's Levy. Left-hand hook shot, no good, and McKay's out of bounds. Maley just lost her footing, and Madgen able to take advantage there.
I like how it's just basket for basket right now. Neither team is really grabbed the momentum.
Exciting stuff. Sunday hoops at its very best. George hands it off to Madgen. Bendigo giving nothing away. Mitchell stepping into a free-throw line, Jay.
Nice little step back from Tiffany Mitchell. Just gave herself that little bit more room to shoot that shot, and nothing but net.
Garrick contested three. Good defense from Lindsay Allen. Former teammates. Now George hands it to Allen, switches on to McKay. McGregor and Bogue. And too long in the key, that'll be on George.
That was a great job by Maddie Garrett, just fronting Kayla, trying to make sure that she didn't get that ball, and she certainly gives away some height.
Peneva Davidson checking in for the first time this afternoon. George to take a spell. So here's Garrick in the corner. Shot goes up. Can't find the rim. Melbourne now 5-point leaders halfway through the second. Davidson with her first touch. Here's Mitchell. Strong take to the hoop and the finish.
She is really owning this game, Tiff Mitchell, right now. She, you know, that drive was, again, very explosive. So she, little bit of a hesitation and then just explodes to the basket and uses her athleticism.
Draws even as the game's equal leading scorer. 8 points now, along with McMagor and Madgen. So, timeout on the floor. Melbourne now out to a 7-point lead. 30-23. They lead this one. Big result last night as well. Of course, a triple header last night of WNBL. The Perth Lynx, in what was a real boil over, Laurie, fell to the Sydney Uni Flames. What a ball game. Dropped to 4th place after the result.
That was incredible, and I think you and I, plus a lot of the fans, probably except the Sydney fans and team, really expected quite a different result. And as we mentioned in the commentary, that had to be the boil over of the year. Certainly first place plays the 8th place team, and it was just such a gutsy performance by Sydney to travel over there, really undermanned, and to play against the Red Army in first home game in a long time.
It was a great game of basketball, and the fans in the East who stayed up to watch it were treated to a special. Here we go, Bogue to inbound for Bendigo.
And this is exactly what Bendigo would like to do, the same as Sydney, is get a big scalp. They know they can't make the playoffs, but they really want to make sure that they're really vying to get to that 5th spot, and play like that from Annalie Maley is going to go a long ways to help them. They want to be the best of the teams that don't make the playoffs and also play a bit of a spoiler.
It's what she does best, Annalie Maley. And you're right, Laurie, 5th place still very much up for grabs for this Bendigo team. Mitchell, 3 balls up, no good. Maley hands it off to Bogue. Back-to-back buckets for the Spirit.
Great recognition by Annalie Maley on her drive. She drew 2 defenders and had a wide-open Bogue who finished it.
Davidson, Lee Scanlon as well out there for the first time. Here's Ernst. Nice pass to Allen, draws the foul, and just falls out. So Allen to the line for 2. Smart play from Allen to recognise Lavey right behind her.
Yep.
So first one goes for LA.
It's good to see Coach Paul Flynn going to his bench and using the likes of Lily Scanlon, Carly Ernst, Penina Davidson.
They bat deep, the Boomers. Allen extends the lead to 5. Back to McKay. Hand off to Lavey. Again, making things happen for Bendigo. Shot falls, foul call on the floor.
Tessa Lavey is coming off that on-ball screen with a real scorer's mentality. She reads the defense really well, recognized that they had stepped off into a sort of a drop situation and pulled up, and her pull-up J looks really good.
Now 9 points in the ball game, Lavey, 3 of 5 shooting. Allen will check out. And Tess Madgen back in there. Just the one personal for Allen. Into Garrick. who's got position, so 2 shots coming up.
Great crowd in attendance in this afternoon's game.
Certainly is. They've been loud and into it early into this one.
While we've got this vision, take a look at Annalie Maley's knee. I think each game that we see her, and there gets to be a little bit more tape each time. And in fact, I've noticed that as teams, as we get, you know, towards the end of the season, there's a little bit more niggles than that. You just look at the amount of tape that is on people. But I've noticed that Annalie in the last few games.
Has not slowed her up one bit as well.
No.
Scanlon gets out of jail. Ernst. Moving it through some hands, the Boomers. 5 on the shot clock. Ernst, long 2. And it falls to the way of McKay. Says, go and get it to Levy. Just out of her reach. So George changes places. Timeout on the floor. Back to a 1-possession ball game. Boomers 32, the Spirit 30.
One thing I've noticed about the Bendigo Spirit in this game is that they're doing a lot of switching, which they normally do, but I love the communication. They're pointing, they're talking. There hasn't been any sort of mishaps where they both, you know, thought they were going to switch and then didn't and leave somebody wide open. Their communication has been really good.
See if we can get Tracy York here. So there we go.
Couldn't quite hear what she was saying, but I'm sure she's really happy with the way they sit right now. 32-30 is our score line. 2-point ball game. You know, they'd be very comfortable with what they're doing. Nobody's in foul trouble. They've kept care of the basketball. They only have 2 turnovers at this stage, so I'm sure Coach York, as would Paul Flynn as well, they're taking care of the ball like they usually do.
It's been some efficient basketball, as you said, Laurie. Both teams shooting just under 60% from the field and next to no turnovers. George got the space missing. Second chance, though. Mitchell wide open.
Oh.
Can't fall.
That did everything but drop.
So here's Levy the other way. Scanlon goes under. Levy takes advantage.
She's got her eye in. She's got her confidence up. We said right from the beginning she looked really focused.
Does she ever? Leading scorer in this one, Mitchell. No good. So Bendigo have the lead once again. Garrick and McMagor. Bogue with the screen. Blocked by McMagor. Sends it out of bounds.
That was not going anywhere. That block from Ezzy. Whack.
No shortage of them this season from McMagor.
No.
So 9 seconds now for Bendigo. Straight into McKay on the block. George did well. Inside to McMagor. George running point guard, and McMagor hits the deck. Maley running transition. Now she goes spinning. Play on, says the ref. And now we've got a call. It'll be on Maley in the Spirit. In fact, it's a tech foul. It's Demi Skinner gets set to check back in. So George at the line for the technical free throw. First points of the game for Kayla George. And Boomers retain possession. Lindsay Allen now inserted back into the ball game for Melbourne. McNagor with the screen. Allen, mid-range two. McNagor wrestles it out of Skinner's hands. Jump ball.
A lot of Melbourne shots are just falling short. They're just hitting the front of the rim.
There's one right there. Bogue. Skinner back into Bogue and just out of her reach as she slaps the stanchion.
Melbourne got out of jail with that that wayward pass because she was wide open. Something happened on defense that there was a miscommunication.
So far, this game's been as good as advertised. Nothing can separate these two at the moment. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Foul call on Garrick. Right, inbounds to George. Allen. Oh, it's just opened up for her.
Well, again, we mentioned this, you know, they've been doing a good job defensively and communicating, but there was zero split line, zero movement to try and help in that instance. And Lindsay Allen, just a clear path to the rim.
Levy contested two. Minute to go here. George opts against the handoff. Now Madgen. Madgen in the corner. Bogue doing her best. She'll step into a contested three. And foul call on the Spirit.
I think Megan McKay just had Kayla George's arm tucked under her when she was attempting to block her out.
Maley back out there and Cassidy McLean as well, checking in for the first time this afternoon. Allen inbounds to Madgen. Levy comes with a double and travel call. Disappointment from Madgen. Both teams have done well for the most part tonight, looking after the ball.
They have, and that's given them opportunities to have at least a look at the basket.
Skinner, floater's good.
Nice little spin move by Skinner, good finish. They needed that basket to tie it up. If they can go into halftime tied or even ahead, they'll be happy with that.
George. That one falls out, shot clock off. Here is that chance to take the lead into the break. Levy. Now McKay comes with a screen. 4 seconds to go. Skinner inside to McKay. She's got to shoot and falls in to end the first half. Megan McKay gets it done, and Bendigo 2-point leaders through 20 minutes.
Wow, that was a great finish as the shot clock, as the game clock was expiring for the halftime, right on the buzzer to send them in with that 2-point lead, Liam.
37-35, they lead the Boomers, and this Bendigo Spirit team, winners of 4 of their last 5. We knew coming into this one it should be a good contest. They look confident at the moment, Laurie.
Well, they do, but we've got a whole nother second half. I'm sure Paul Flynn and Larissa Anderson will talk to them I would like the Boomers to just push the ball a little more on offense when they get a good rebound. Push it and test the waters a little bit early. We know Tiff Mitchell's running hard, but I would just like to see LA maybe just push it a little bit more. See if Bendigo are setting their defense early.
Allen got 6 points to a name so far in this one. Highlights on your screen right now, and Magbagor as well back into the starting lineup today, returning from a foot injury. She's been good, Laurie. 8 points, 4 boards as well for Ezzy.
She has, but to me it's about this lady that's on court right now is Tessa Levy. She's had some really good looks, and she's playing with such confidence. But that's the sort of teamwork that the Boomers need. Just that movement off the ball, the player, the ball movement. Lots of reverse layups in there, nice finishes. But Tessa Levy, to me, has really stood out from both teams.
She has looked locked in from the get-go, Levy. 12 points to her name. Tiffany Mitchell's remained aggressive. She's got 8. 3 players on 8 points are the leaders for Melbourne: Mitchell, Madgen and Magbagor. And that big rejection from Ezzy as well. Get some match highlights, match stats rather, on your screen right now. And both teams shooting the ball well, looking after it. Not much separating these two. No surprises there. Rebounding's equal as well.
Well, that's right, and that's what you'd expect when it's a 2-point game and on the buzzer, as we talked about. But I do like how both teams are taking care of the ball. 5 turnovers for Melbourne, 4 for Bendigo. That's really good to see. Offensive rebounds, they've both had the same sort of numbers, so you know that's something they can tidy up on. But certainly Melbourne have done a good job of keeping Maley so that she's not having a huge influence on this game. But isn't that great when that's happened and somebody like Tessa Levy can step up?
Maley at the moment with 4 points in the game. Perhaps the only stat that's depressing the scoring at the moment. 20% from 3 for Bendigo, 3 of 15 and 0 of 7 from 3 for the Boomers. But it's the Spirit by 2 points at the moment. Bendigo 37, Melbourne 35. Stick with us. We've got some packages over halftime and we'll be back with the third quarter very, very soon.
To everyone who said we're not strong enough, not fast enough, wrong. We're crossover queens, scoring buckets, taking names and hitting no-look threes. We fight for every ball. And do we dunk? Hell yeah. When we roll onto the court with nothing to lose and everything to prove, you're in for a show. She got style, she got balls, she got belief, she got game.
funny. Okay, so this was my first season with Bulleen. It was under 14s. I'm pretty sure I was top age, so it was 2013. I would have been 12 or 13 in this photo, but I think it's just so funny. My name is Lily Scanlon. I am playing for the Melbourne Boomers right now. It's my first season and I'm a point guard. I showed the girls before and they said I looked the exact same. I grew up my whole junior career around Bulleen, around, you know, Sheehan's Road. My first tryout I had with Tom Ma, so it's crazy to think that it's all connected, and it kind of shows that there is that pathway and the connection between playing Bulleen juniors and then obviously now I'm playing WNBL, and then that full circle of having Bulleen as my sponsor for WNBL is awesome to me. And then this one is my, when was this? Under 14s as well. So this was the Altham Dandenong tournament in 2013. I really looked up to Michelle Timms growing up playing basketball for Bulleen.
Moving on, we got Lily Scanlon.
Oh man, stop right there. I'm so happy to see this signing earlier in the year. You know, a great addition to the ball club, excellent backup. You know, she'll be pushing LA along to every last inch of this season. So
obviously, she's a legend and she's a goat. It's crazy to think that we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of the WNBL championship. I just remember, you know, our team would go to the Veneto Club and we'd be sitting on the sidelines in the beanbags and they'd throw out the T-shirts into the crowd. But yeah, I just remember it was always something that I aspired to play, and now it's crazy to think that, looking back, I was on the sidelines in the crowd watching the Bulleen Boomers WNBL championship, and now I'm playing for the Deakin Melbourne Boomers, so it's pretty cool. And I'm rocking the Asics and my ribbons in my hair. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool to look back on photos like this. It's nice to have.
Women with Drive.
Welcome back to the Melbourne Sports Centre here in Parkville. Liam Ellison here alongside Laurie Chiswick. It is the Bendigo Spirit leading this one by 2 points, and what a great feature from Bulleen Boomers junior Lily Scanlon right there on such a special night for this club, wearing, of course, the old Bulleen jerseys. And isn't that great to see the pathway from the juniors all the way through here to the National League? Of course, we heard first tryout with Tom Ma right there down at the Veneto Club in Bulleen. And I'll tell you what, Aussie Hoops is a great way to get involved with the sport from a young age. It's basketball's national junior participation program. It all starts there, introducing kids ages 5 to 10 years old to basketball. They learn and improve their fundamental movement skills, as well as the basics of teamwork and cooperation, which will, of course, benefit them both on and off the court. AussieHoops.basketball/finder program, link on your screen right now. And we shouldn't forget as well, Laurie, of course, it is WNBL Indigenous round here in round 13. Of course, with both teams wearing those wonderful warm-up tops with the art designed by artist Mara May. And don't they look fantastic, Laurie?
Yes, we've seen a variety of the teams have their Indigenous uniforms, and oh, I think they're stunning. I love them. I love the designs. I love the WNBL logo, their warm-up tops, the referees. It's a great way of celebrating the Indigenous round with this beautiful artwork. But I also love that story on Lily Scanlon. That was fantastic. It's so good to see, you know, a young player that has dreams and aspirations and has their, you know, role models. They love Michelle Timms, and then to find themselves playing in what was a dream once is really fun to see.
Got to be great to wear this jersey on the WNBL stage. She had some great photos from earlier tournaments as well as a young representative player. So second half just about back underway here.
This will be interesting. I think Bulleen really need to step up their defense to another level. They've been okay. There haven't been any glaring issues, but I feel they can go up another level. They need to be more disruptive. They need to make Bendigo feel uncomfortable in what they're doing and not just let them, you know, move the ball as well. But here they're on offense right now. Let's see if they can come up with the first basket of the second half.
Allen. And George trying to do just that, stepping through on Skinner. Classy stuff from Kayla George.
And really, we didn't see George inside much at all the first half, so I think that's a good start for her to be in there and be a presence.
First field goal of the game for George. Maley stepping back for a long two. Retakes the lead for Bendigo. Now Magmagor fighting inside. Two Spirit defenders there. Mitchell crashing in. O-board for Tiff Mitchell. Pops it out to Madgen. So now Lindsay Allen can slow things up. And just a miscue from Madgen and Magmagor there. Here's Tessa Lavey, who might have been the player of the first half, 12 points to her name. Garrick. Now she picks up her dribble. Nice pass to McKay, who misses.
That was a great option. McKay just needs to take her time on those catch and finishes.
Allen hesitates. Skinner did well. So they back it out, the Boomers. Madgen inside and finishes.
Again, no split line help or was trying to come across too late. Bendigo really need to make sure they're fixing that up and they're really aware of that.
Now Garrick, Allen assessed with the foul. No players in any real foul trouble for either team. So Lavey inbounds to Maley. She's got Madgen on her, takes advantage.
Well, she's come out with a different mindset. Maley, she's gotten two baskets early in this quarter. That's a good sign for Bendigo.
Now up to 8 points in the ball game as Skinner is assessed with the personal. Tiffany Mitchell was good in the first half. 8 points, 6 boards. George at the top of the key, tried to thread the needle. Allen still came up with it. Allen now wide open from the corner and takes advantage.
Tiff Mitchell thought about taking it herself and then saw LA in the corner, and great decision to pass it to her.
Allen relieves Garrick of the ball. Now Mitchell. Melbourne retaking the lead just moments ago. Magmagor stepping out from long range. And Maley cleans it up for Bendigo. Maley from mid-range.
That's a nice transition basket from Annalie Maley. Again, Bendigo are doing a good job of pushing the ball at every opportunity.
Maley's feeling it to start the third as Mitchell fouled. So baseline ball before the shot. Inbounds to Madgen. Here's Madgen again. Magmagor cutting through. Good set for the Boomers. Maley into McKay. Loses the handle. Mitchell hits the deck. So Allen gets around Garrick, and Garrick with her second personal. Cassidy McLean back out there for Skinner, who's played an important role off the bench today for the Spirit.
They've gone a bit smaller now, Bendigo, with only Megan McKay as their sort of legit big, and we know Annalie Maley has taken that role on this year.
Has she ever? Of course, leading the league in rebounds, Annalie Maley. Here's Ernst back out there. Allen can step into a three. Garrick and Mitchell battling. Here's Maley. Transition three goes up, and that one's off. So the third quarter has begun like the first half played out, bucket for bucket.
It is. It's a real grind right now. Little horns action here by Melbourne again.
So Allen wide open. Can't make him pay. Ernst, though, on the O-glass. Allen demanding movement. Here's Ernst. Just off. Mitchell, though, second chance. Third chance. Another offensive rebound. And cannot convert. So Mitchell with 3 opportunities. Can Bendigo punish the Boomers on the other end? And McKay's fouled. Battling so hard,
Oh, she
Mitchell.
is. She's so athletic and just couldn't finish.
Now got 6 offensive rebounds as a result of those last 3. Tiff Mitchell. So Levy, good pass.
Oh, great read by Garrick. So she was the one setting some screens, and she realized that they were going to switch. So it's always whoever sets the screen is open, and just straight back to the basket. Very good read by Maddie Garrick.
Ernst flips it over to Mitchell. No look to George. Good contest. Better offense.
Well, they do. They need Kayla George. That's only her 5th point. They need her involved.
Melbourne retake the lead. And Garrick and George getting tangled up. Garrick's got a few words for a former teammate. Not much you can do there if you're Cassidy McLean. So here's Maley. Levy working hard to get free, and Maley is fouled. Carly Ernst assessed with the personal.
Good clear out for Maley when it was recognized that she had Carly Ernst on her. Not quite as quick foot speed wise.
Approaching yet another double-double in this game, Annalie Maley. First one's good. 11 points, 9 rebounds. 3 dimes as well. So second one's off. We're all tied up here at Parkville.
Neither team have made any inroads halfway through this quarter.
Offensive foul. So that's the 7th turnover of the game for Melbourne. Levy generally in the point guard position. Here's Garrick. Allen doing her best, comes up with it. They get tangled up and jump ball. Good hustle from LA.
Well, it was good recognition that she anticipated that Maddie Garrick, instead of using the screen, would come back the same way. You can see that little spin, and so she anticipated that, was able to come up with the ball and end up in a jump ball situation, but it's retained by Bendigo.
McLean into McKay. Lady's been everywhere. Garrick picks up her dribble. This time, she's stripped of it. Allen assessing her options. Benita Davidson back out there as well for Melbourne. Offensive foul again. So second personal for Madgen.
Just extended that arm, I guess, a little bit.
Fifth turnover of the game as well for Madgen. Garrick. Here's these two again, Allen and Garrick. Melbourne with the defense, but they've got a fresh 14. Levy, three ball is up.
Oh!
Big shot for Levy.
Big shot for Tessa Levy. She is really carrying this team, not only in her scoring, but we saw her just the play before, organizing and being that court general, as you mentioned.
Extends her tally to 15 for the game. Allen hands off to Madgen. They've got to go here, Melbourne. Davidson. Will they run out of time? Allen just up. Magmagor's crashing the glass. Davidson's there. Another opportunity now for the Boomers. Allen and Davidson. Allen steps into a triple and Maley pulls it down. Levy flips it over and Maley a little short. Foul calls on Izzy Wright. And Bendigo at the moment have had the answers the last few minutes.
Well, they certainly haven't, and that was just a blocking out foul. So Izzy Wright was really trying to keep McLean off the boards and just, I guess, was a little bit too aggressive. We couldn't really see it. Sometimes that sort of foul as a coach you don't mind. You know, if it's a blocking out foul and you've really worked hard to try and get position and you're called, well, so be it. Nobody's in foul trouble right now.
McLean goes 1 or 2 from the charity stripe. Now Magmagor tries to get it to Madgen. And an uncharacteristic flurry of turnovers for this Boomers team here in the third.
I think it's one of those situations where, you know, we expect the Boomers to win this game. You know, they're in the top 4. They're getting ready for playoffs, and Bendigo aren't. And so the pressure mounts every time, you know, Bendigo get a little bit of a run or you don't get a couple of scores in a row. I just sense that's happening right now. But there's so much time left.
Madgen, 3 balls up and a little off. Now Maley pushing the pace. The Boomers do just enough to deter her. Now Allen the other way. Right open. And the Boomers can't buy a bucket over the last few minutes.
Good idea for Tessa Levy just to slow it down. Call a play, get set up.
3-point struggles for both teams, especially the Boomers. Just 1 of 16 from 3-point land. Allen, just over a minute remaining here in the third.
I'm a bit surprised neither team have. I think Bendigo had threw in a bit of a zone for a while, but neither team are shooting the 3-ball well. So why not have a look at the zone and see what? Because often out of a zone you can get a good rebound and a run.
Allen, see if she can reverse the fortunes. She can't. Just one game separating first place and fourth place at the moment. Every game is a must-win for the Boomers.
You can see the Boomers are trying to force away from the screen, to ice it or to whatever you want to call it, but force away. Oh,
just can't keep it in. Davidson and Allen did well. Would have been pretty if it came off. So Tessa Lavey, the game's leading scorer so far. Letting some time wind down. Her team still leading by 4. Steps into a 3. Lavey a little left. McLean with the O-board. Shot clock's gone. 5 seconds. Garrick tried to hand it off to her teammate. She's hit the deck. Allen from half court. Little short. So that will do it for the end of 3. The Bendigo Spirit have extended their 2-point halftime lead to 4. They lead 50-46. Stick around. Fourth quarter coming up very, very soon. Welcome back to the Melbourne Sports Centre in Parkville. It's a 4-point ball game. The Spirit in the lead. Liam Ellison here alongside Laurie Chiswick in what's a historic game for the Melbourne Boomers. Wearing the Bulleen jersey, of course, 10-year anniversary from their one and only premiership. And what a year of women's basketball we've got ahead. The World Cup coming to our shores here on Australia in September. September 22nd, it all kicks off. Sign up for first access to tickets at womensworldcup.basketball. Very, very exciting, Laurie Chiswick. And, of course, the World Cup draw as well taking place during the week. Michelle Timms, Shyla Heal in attendance. So good to get that info through to our own box.
Yes, you know, now that the teams have the pools and who we're going to be playing, Canada, Japan, Serbia, France, Nigeria, the assistant coaches can go straight to work on scouting and be really prepared. They know the fixture, they know when they play, so it's great. It really feels like it's stepping up now, it's ramping up. As is this game right now, 4-point game to Bendigo. Wow, I feel the Boomers really need to, they haven't had as much of an inside presence as I thought they would. I thought with the height advantage that they had, they would look to go inside, pound it inside a little bit more. But we haven't seen that, and you know, they find themselves in a close ball game.
Kayla George, just the 5 points so far. As Mitchell steps into a mid-range. It's been everything that's been advertised this afternoon. Where else would you rather be? Is McGregor assessed with a foul?
You see, and I like that, and I think Bendigo have been doing that all afternoon, pushing the ball at any opportunity, whether it's Lavey, whether it's Maley, who we see has gotten to the line. Test the defense, see if they're back and ready to play. And I'd like to see Melbourne do that a little bit more.
Maley's third quarter was good. Now up to 11 and 13.
Oh, all the tape is gone.
Good spot.
Good. She must have had that magic spray put on her knee at three-quarter time.
Very interesting as Mitchell draws the foul. McLean with the personal. So into Kayla George. They trail by 5 here, the Boomers. Over to Madgen. Garrick right up in her grill. McKay taps it out momentarily. Here's McMagor. Time winding down. No good. And last touch by Maddie Garrick.
We have to remember that Megwar hasn't played for a few weeks. She's had that injury since the Opals camp where she, had to rest and she hasn't played a game and she does look a little bit rusty. Having said that, she has 10 points, tied with Madgen as their top scorers.
Back into the starting lineup, Ezzy McMagor. George. Here's Allen flipping it round the perimeter now, Melbourne. George steps it out. And McMagor did really well, diving in there, desperation. Maley as well, and McMagor looks sore. Have another look at this one now. So Ezzy looks set to remain in the ball game.
That's good. You just don't want to see anybody, that was just both players going hard for the basketball.
So Levy hands it over to Garrick. Maley with the screen. Garrick steps back for three. Just rattles out. Tiff Mitchell. Here's Madgen searching for a teammate. Finds it in the way of George. She's got the smaller McLean on her. Can't convert. Maley on the fast break. And she's fouled. So Annalie Maley will head to the free throw line. So there we go, bailout maybe for Annalie Maley. 28 points and 15 rebounds per game in round 12, your player of the week. Converts on the second, and Bendigo extend their lead.
It's really important now that Melbourne take care of the ball, get a nice shot up.
See if Tiff Mitchell can do just that. Picks up her dribble.
It's pretty stagnant out there. They're looking for each other to do something.
Madgen, triple no good, and Melbourne's three-point woes continue. Mitchell, though, is fouled on the way down. Now 1 of 20 from the land of plenty, the Boomers. So we'll sweep that up and get back underway, but Penina Davidson back out there off the bench. Boomers still yet to score here in the fourth. McMagor into Mitchell. Somehow whips it out to Madgen. And again they miss. Allen, though, she'll back it out. Inside to a cutting McMagor. Out of bounds, Bendigo ball.
This is a low-scoring game, Lee, and considering both teams average about 75 points a game, it's a real grind defensive battle. And it's just the three-point shooting is abysmal from both teams. 5% for Melbourne and 19% for Bendigo.
Yeah, the Boomers especially have had their woes. They've had their woes all season from three, actually, Melbourne. Levy. Bendigo with their biggest lead of the ball game. Falls out into the lap of McLean, who takes advantage. Allen hands it over to Davidson. Mitchell crossing. Davidson can fire. And the same result for Melbourne. They will retain possession though.
Lindsay Allen, when she's coming off of that high on-ball screen, she's not looking to be a scorer. She's looking to be a passer, and I would just think she's potent coming off that screen and making a decision. But right now, she's a passer all the way.
Normally the sort of player who can pick her moments and score when needed. Bendigo, though, again with another stop. 3.5 minutes without a score for the Boomers. Timeout on the floor. Bendigo 54 leading the Boomers 46, who are, as we spoke about, Laurie, 1 of 22 from beyond the arc. But Bendigo have come to play. They've come to play the last 2 or 3 weeks, really.
They have. I mean, they're, you know, I think really the second half of the season, they've really come together, and the things that Tracy York has put in place, you know, they finally, the pieces of the puzzle have fallen together, and they're playing well together. They're playing well as a team. If you look right now, there's a spread of scores. Everybody's involved, and I think they know their roles out there, but they don't stop. They just keep playing, and they really believe in what they can do.
Tessa Levy leading the way with 15 points. Annalie Maley right behind her with 13 and 14. And for Melbourne, it's Madgen and Ezzy McMagor with 10 apiece. In what's been a low-scoring affair.
Well, Kayla George averages 14 points a game, and she has 5 right now. You know, so how do you get yourself involved? Well, get down low, be a presence. I know she's not a back to the basket, but make the defense collapse and then hit it out to a shooter, and then you're in a good rebounding position.
See if they can do just that here. Bendigo to start us off. Trying to make it a double-digit lead for the first time for either team this afternoon.
Bendigo are still moving really well.
Maley follows her own miss, and Davidson cleans it up. Allen calling the shots. Here's Davidson with the screen. Over to Tiff Mitchell, down low to Ezzy McMagor, who's fouled.
That was a good look, though. There was movement, there was player movement. Nice pass in.
So McMagor to the line. They led by 7 at one stage, the Boomers. 15-point turnaround since that point in the second quarter. First one off for Ezzy. Who's had her struggles from the line this season, 57% on the year. So second one goes. Levy. McLean playing some big minutes down the stretch. Now Garrick stepping through off the windows. Good. Again, that horns action for the Boomers.
And again, you can see how Allen's not looking at being a scoring threat.
Davidson, defender hits the deck. Offensive foul. Bendigo bench up and about. Had the mismatch as well, Penina Davidson.
Well, Bendigo are doing a good job when that ball does go inside of just collapsing and you know, really smothering that person.
So here we go. 9-point leaders, the Spirit. Now halfway through the final quarter. Maddie Garrick, mid-range 2. Not that time. Allen, now she's starting to show some aggression herself.
That's what we like. That's good.
Timeout on the floor, back to a 7-point ball game.
Tracy York's not taking any chance of them getting any momentum swing, and Lindsay Allen finding her eye, so good timeout.
Allen now into double digits with 11 points, and I do sense that we might see her feature down the stretch, Laurie. Of course, 29 points last weekend in that 2-point win over the Capitals. We know how deadly she can be.
Well, and we would expect that. You know, they've got some very experienced players on the court with Allen, with George, with Ezzy, even though she's young, she's been around for a while now. Tiff Mitchell, Madgen. So, you know, there have been a few games this season where they've been in a winnable position and they've been really close and they haven't gotten over the line, Melbourne. So this is, again, another big test for them. They're coming from behind. They're not protecting a lead. So they need to make things happen at both ends of the court. They can't stand back and hope Bendigo miss. They've got to have contested shots. They've got to get their hands in the passing lane. They've got to try and get deflections. And when they secure that rebound, they've got to go, and they've got to have a sense of urgency in their offense. It's, you know, I sense the last couple of times, other than that push by Lindsay Allen, they're standing, they're going, you do it, pass, you do it. And that can't happen. They're too good for that.
See if they can reverse their fortunes here, the Boomers. Coming into the final stretch now of this one. Been a great Sunday afternoon of hoops. Boomers trying to honour their champions from 2011. Maley.
What poise by that whole Bendigo Spirit team. It was through a few hands. Tessa Levy, great decision not to try and force a shot. Got it to Maley, and a nice finish by Annalie Maley.
Lindsay Allen sensing the moment. Hands it off to George, who's fouled. There's that spin move and fade away from Maley again. Made it look easy, it was far from. So before the shot, foul, Allen to inbound. Here's Izzy Wright back out there off the bench. George and Levy on the perimeter. Now she goes inside, Kayla George, but Wright can fire. Breaks the drought for Melbourne.
Still lots of time in this game, 4 minutes, so there's time for Melbourne, but if Bendigo keep playing the way they are and the poise that they're showing, could be another upset, Liam.
Yeah, big boil over last night in Perth. Here's Garrick. Now she steps through off the glass.
Maddie Garrick, just that little up fake and then step through, got her balance.
Takes it back out to 9. Tiff Mitchell got some space, handed it straight to Megan McKay.
Not sure why Mitchell just didn't go up strongly. She's so athletic.
Had the lane.
Had the lane, had the drive to the basket.
So now the Spirit trying to make it double digits. Wright hits the deck. Got to go now, Levy. And she's drawn the contact. So costly call for Melbourne at the end of the shot clock. And we spoke pre-game, Laurie, about how some of these teams in the bottom four can really make life hard for what looks like the final four finalists. We saw it last night, and here the Spirit again, they're marching the last couple of weeks. Looking well in control of this ball game at the moment.
Well, they certainly are, and you know, that idea of having spoilers. When we talk about the run home, you go with the assumption that you're going to beat all the teams below, and what's going to be the wins and losses with teams in the top 4. But I tell you what, with Sydney and Bendigo playing the way they are right now, they're going to spoil some parties for, where those Final 4 are going to finish.
Yeah, certainly. And of course, so much talent as well on Southside and Townsville. So foul on Magbagor. Again, the Spirit.
So you look how when that whistle blew, that Bendigo just went together straight away. That's just lacking in the Boomers right now. And yes, that's hard. They didn't think it was a foul. But you've got to rally the troops. You've got to be cohesive right now. You've got to still have a sense of urgency.
Bendigo have looked united from the opening tip. First one's good for Maley. Now the game's leading scorer with 16. Big free throws for Bendigo. Makes it really hard for Melbourne.
And, that's a sign of a really good player. And we talked about Annalie Maley being in MVP form. She only had 4 points to the half and has really stepped up this second half.
Another big double-double for her, 17 and 14. Wright, though, did well. Comes up with a steal when they needed it the most. Allen whips it inside to George. Missing on the lay-in. It's been that sort of second half for the home side.
And that's exactly the sort of shot that they need, that, Kayla George going hard to the basket.
Yeah, just what you spoke of, Laurie. But George now 2 of 7 from the field, 5 points.
So the clock is certainly in Bendigo's favor right now. They can afford to move the ball around, shift the defense, make sure they have a really good look at the basket.
Timeout on the floor. Bendigo leading by 11. 2.5 minutes, still plenty of time, but the margin of error is becoming slimmer and slimmer with every possession. If you're Melbourne.
Well, Melbourne right now, if they want to even have a chance at closing this gap, they need to be up full court pressure, trying to get a turnover, a steal, an easy basket. Melbourne have not, I'd be surprised if they've had any transition baskets. It's been a grind in the quarter-court for them. So they need to be up and in. They need to have hand pressure. They need to be in the passing lanes. They need to be so active and just try to force Bendigo into some mistakes.
Well, you're spot on, Laurie. Surprisingly enough, or unsurprisingly, fast break points for the Boomers, just 2 for the game. And Bendigo as well, 2 points.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the game's been played on Tracy York's pace so far?
Yes, I do. I mean, I think she's... that and the fact that I don't think it's a real focus of Melbourne to push the ball. They're much more... I don't know if safe's the right word, but they play a more sort of a conservative style when it comes to that real running game. Yet I think they have the athletes that can do it, but it's hard when you don't get any sort of cheap little points out of fast breaks or transitions. And whilst Bendigo may not have gotten those fast break points, they've been putting Melbourne under pressure to defend them early.
Melbourne averaged the least turnovers in the league. Reflecting your statements, Laurie, 12.5 a game. Here's Levy trying to add to that Bendigo lead. Finds her way through, and she's fouled. Just the late closeout from Izzy Wright. So back to the starting 5 for Melbourne.
Good idea for Levy to put it to the floor and you know, use a little bit of time and see if you can get yourself to the foul line.
So 16 points on the game for Levy. Missing on the second. Melbourne wasting no time. They've got to go now or never. Mitchell. George kicks it out to Allen. Now Allen showing some aggressive, and George on the O-glass. Getting to the right spots here over the final few minutes. George, 5.7 rebounds today.
Well, interesting, Melbourne actually have 19 offensive rebounds compared to Bendigo's 12, but they just haven't converted on those second chance opportunities.
Yeah. At one stage, Mitchell had 3 in a row to no avail. So 2 of 2 for George there. Crowd still very involved here at the Melbourne Sports Centre. Maley and Magmagor. Maley takes it to the rack, missing. McLean's there. Blocked by Magmagor. Sends it out to Allen. Now over to Mitchell, who pushes the issue. And 2 shots coming up. Chance to make it single digits for the Boomers. Big defensive play from Ezzy.
So why are we waiting till the last minute and a half to see that sort of run and push from the Boomers? They've got the athleticism, they've got the people that can push the floor. They just need to have the confidence to do it. And then they're smart players. They can then decide if they want to push it, pull it back out and set something up.
Athleticism headlined by this woman right here, Tiff Mitchell. So timeout. Back to 8 points here. 95 seconds to go in this ball game. Chance for Tracy York to address her troops.
So you'd have to think Melbourne are talking about pressing up full court, seeing if they can initially get a steal. Then you might as well foul and send them to the line and you know, see if you can. They might miss and you can get a rebound and go down and get a quick shot, but they need to get some threes up and some quick shots. They just have to make things happen. It's looking doubtful, but 8 points, minute and a half. I think Bendigo have just played too well to let that happen. I think we're going to see another upset here this afternoon, and to Bendigo's credit, they've played rock solid all game. Defensively, offensively, they haven't tried to do too much. They've, you know, somebody like Annalee Maley, not great the first half, but certainly stepped up again the second half.
Hasn't she ever? 17 points, 6 of 11 shooting, 15 boards. You wouldn't know she had a quiet start to this ball game. The Boomers still only a couple of buckets away from making this a real ball game.
They need to get a stop here, a steal, more likely a steal, to try and deny everything, get a hand and see if they can steal the basketball.
So here we go. Melbourne trying to deny into McKay. Levy, 10 seconds to work with. Over to Garrick. Here's McLean, wide open from the top. That's the dagger.
That is definitely the dagger, Liam. Wow.
McLean, big shot. 11-point lead is the Spirit. Now they're pushing the pace. Allen, Mitchell, Bendigo doing their best to close out. Allen will fire. Finally they convert, the Boomers, just their second 3-ball of the game. So less than a minute to go now. Levy in no rush.
Good clock management by Tessa Levy.
Over to McLean. McKay, now they've got to go, the Spirit. They haven't recognised it, so that'll be a turnover. Travel call, in fact. But 40 seconds to go here.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Boomers, it's just all a little bit too late.
They need a 3 here, you'd think, to make it interesting. Allen inside to Magmagor. There's an easy 2. So another timeout, back to a 6-point game. Boomers not going away yet.
Well, I'm not. They're not going away, and that was just easy basketball. Lindsay Allen came off of that with a little bit more aggression, as if she was going to score, drew a defender, and then that was an easy pass to a Magnabor who was able to finish it.
McLean's pumped. Big bucket for her. She's got 6 in the ball game. And Lindsay Allen's now the leading scorer in the ball game for Melbourne. She's shown some more aggression through the 4th period, but for the most part, as you said, Laurie, hasn't really looked to be the scorer in this game.
And yet we know how potent she is, you know, how she can. I just had in my notes that they're probably going to use a high on-ball screen between her and Ezzy, and that's going to be really hard for Bendigo to defend. And because I have such high respect for those two players and what they can do, but it just didn't seem to happen. But full credit to Bendigo and how they fought. Anytime one of their bigs have rolled to the basket, they've fronted, they've scrapped to get around, and really made it difficult for the Boomers.
Let's see if Melbourne have got one last surprise in store. 32 seconds to go here.
They're going to use the full clock, Bendigo.
Melbourne sensing the urgency. Off Levy. So Tiff Mitchell comes up with a stop. Chance to bring it back to a 1-possession ball game. Another timeout.
Well, if Melbourne, you know, this is where we look at all the different scenarios. If Melbourne need to come up with a real quick hitter, a quick hitter 3, and then Bendigo, I'm not sure if they got any timeouts left, would want to advance the ball, but they've got to get the ball in and make sure they take care of it. So it's a 2-possession game right now with, they both need a 3. They need a 3 out of every shot, Melbourne. So it'll be interesting to see what play is set up here.
Certainly will be. Big moment for Paul Flynn and the Boomers. It's been all Bendigo here in the second half.
Exciting stuff, isn't it great? This time of the season, we've got 2 rounds left. We don't know who, well, we know who's in the top 4, but we certainly don't know the order. And we've got some of the teams in that bottom half which are going to be spoilers. You know, for the league, that just shows the strength of it, and credit to all the players that are playing.
It's great to see. So even in this Bendigo Spirit team, they've got some continuity now. They're up and about. Allen inside to Magbagor, spinning, finishing, back to 4. So now they've got to take care of it, Bendigo.
Try and get an 8-second clock violation.
Garrick throws it ahead, and Mitchell so nearly picked it off. 7.5 remaining. Gee,
that would have been...
That would have made things very intense as Garrick is fouled. So the ball in safe hands if you're Bendigo. Garrick at the line. Shoots 77% from the line on the season. First one's good.
This win might elevate Bendigo to that much coveted 5th spot on the ladder.
Certainly is. Allen, 3 seconds. She'll throw up the 3. That's good. Can they come up with a miracle here? The Boomers. Maley ahead to Levy. And that will do it. The Bendigo Spirit come into Melbourne's home court on a big day for Melbourne and steal the victory. Victors by 3 points, 68-65. And the Spirit have won 3 on the trot and 5 of their last 6.
I think I'd be a little bit worried if I was Adelaide or Canberra, you know, or Perth even, that whoever has to play the Boomers in these last 2 rounds, because they're not taking a backward step to anybody. And the belief that they have in each other and the game plan that Tracy York has put in together is phenomenal.
What performance again from Bendigo. They are full of confidence. Maley led the way today with 17 points, 15 rebounds after what was a quiet first half. But Tracy York and her team just controlled the game, it felt like.
Well, they did. I thought they controlled the tempo. I thought their defense was a real team effort. You know, they were helping. There were good rotations. There was lots of talk and energy. And Melbourne, I just felt like they, when they got behind and things weren't dropping, they just couldn't find a way to dig themselves out of that. And, you know, that is a concern going into the finals, because there's no doubt they've got the talent. And when Melbourne are at their best, they're unstoppable. But they just have to find a way that when things aren't going their way, that they don't drop too low.
And started to push the issue at the end as well. Lindsay Allen showing some urgency. The game's equal leading scorer with 17 points. But just a little too late for the Boomers. The Spirit, well, they come up to a 6-8 record now, just 2 games below 500. 4-4 on the road and 2-4 at home.
That most likely will drop Melbourne back to 4th now.
Yes.
With that extra, you know, 5 losses now. That's maybe find it difficult for them to make that top 2 now, which is so important when you can get a home court advantage.
Yeah, back to 10-5. The Boomers 66% win percentage. The Lightning on top with the 75, 9-3. Some of your highlights this afternoon. It was a quieter game for Kayla George, to 7 points, 7 rebounds. And Annalie Maley, well, her MVP campaign has continued. And you dare say some of these wins down the stretch might be important for votes.
Well, that's right, because when we do look at the voting and we, you know, we've talked about who probably is in the running, and certainly she is, and the more her team wins and she stands out, that's good for her voting-wise.
Tessa Lavey as well, the other Spirit player that was a standout today, 16 points, 12 of which came in the first half. And Garrett playing against her old fans for the first time. She had 13 points for the Spirit. For Melbourne, Ezzy McMagor returned into the starting lineup today, 15.6 rebounds. Good little return for her, but didn't go their way in the end. Stats on your screen right now. Pretty even across the board, but it was the 3-point shooting really that cost both teams. 3 of 25 for Melbourne and 5 of 22 for Bendigo.
Yeah, that's just, you know, that 3-point percentage, if you're not scoring from outside, you need to find ways and means of getting the ball inside, whether that's pass penetration, dribble penetration, get it inside, get it back out again, punch it in. But either way, you know, Melbourne just were lacking in that intensity. I feel that real, you know, go after it hard and let's see what we can do. And so that's unfortunate for them, but credit to Bendigo, how they played, where they are. They're exciting to watch.
They certainly are. It's been a great story in the second half of the season. 5 of the last 6 wins for the Spirit. A controlled performance from them. They held Melbourne to just 2 fast break points for the game. They prevail here on a Sunday afternoon, 68-65 on a historic game for the Boomers, but the Spirit take the chocolates. It's been Liam Ellison here alongside Laurie Chiswick. Thank you very much for joining us. That wraps up round 13. Stay with us. The WNBL is coming to its crescendo very, very soon.